America's most infamous political scandal explained. Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that the entire world is talking about a secret that was never supposed to leave a private room. Television channels interrupt regular programming. Radio hosts scream into microphones. Newspapers print giant headlines in black ink. Late-night comedians laugh while millions watch from home. Inside government buildings, people whisper nervously in hallways. Lawyers rush through doors carrying folders filled with evidence. Journalists wait outside with cameras ready. Politicians prepare speeches designed to destroy each other. At the center of all this chaos stands a young woman whose life is about to change forever. Not because she committed murder, not because she stole money, but because a private relationship slowly turned into one of the biggest public scandals in American history. And once the story escaped into the media, there was no stopping it anymore. Tonight's story is about power, secrecy, betrayal, manipulation, and humiliation on a scale few people could survive. This is the story behind one of America's most shocking political scandals. Everything started in an environment where power could be felt in every corner. The building itself almost looked unreal. Bright lights reflected across polished floors. Security officers stood near every entrance. Phones rang constantly. People walked quickly through hallways carrying confidential information. Inside those walls, careers were made overnight. One meeting could change the future of an entire country. For young employees, simply entering that world felt exciting. There was prestige in working there. Status, influence, importance. The atmosphere created pressure, but also attraction. People became fascinated by power very quickly. Among the many workers moving through offices every day, a private connection quietly began forming. At first, it seemed harmless. Short conversations during busy schedules. Friendly interactions that slowly became more personal. There was excitement in secrecy. The hidden nature of everything made emotions stronger. Private meetings became more frequent. Conversations became more intimate. The risk itself created adrenaline. But secrecy inside political environments is extremely fragile. The higher the power, the greater the danger. At the same time, another employee developed an unusually close friendship with the young woman at the center of everything. She listened carefully during conversations, offered advice, acted supportive, created trust slowly and patiently. The friendship appeared genuine. There were long phone calls filled with emotional conversations, private details, fears, excitement, and confusion. But hidden behind those conversations was something terrifying. Without permission, recordings were secretly being made. Every emotional confession, every private detail, every risky statement. At first, nobody realized how dangerous those recordings would become. The young woman believed she was speaking safely to someone she trusted. She had no idea the conversations could eventually reach investigators, lawyers, and national media outlets. Meanwhile, rumors slowly started spreading inside political circles. Whispers in offices, suspicious glances, quiet conversations stopping whenever someone entered the room. People began noticing unusual behavior. And once rumors begin near powerful institutions, they spread faster than wildfire. Soon, journalists started hearing pieces of the story. At first, nobody knew how massive it would become. It sounded like another political rumor. But reporters kept digging deeper. Questions started appearing. Phone calls increased. Sources leaked information quietly. The pressure began building from every direction. Inside private rooms, panic slowly replaced confidence. People worried about exposure. Damage control discussions became constant. Lawyers started preparing for possible investigations even before the full story became public. Then came the moment everything changed. Investigators officially became involved. Now this was no longer just gossip. Now it was legal. Every conversation suddenly mattered. Every memory became important. Every lie carried massive risk. The recordings secretly made during phone calls became explosive evidence. And once investigators realized those tapes existed, the entire situation transformed overnight. Fear spread everywhere because recordings are different from rumors. Rumors can be denied, recordings cannot. The media sensed blood immediately. Television networks launched non-stop coverage. Reporters camped outside buildings waiting for updates. Newspapers competed aggressively to reveal new information first. America became obsessed. People discussed the scandal at restaurants, offices, schools, and dinner tables. Some believed the relationship itself was the scandal. Others believed the real scandal was abuse of power. And many believed political enemies were using private behavior to destroy leadership. The country became deeply divided. But while politicians argued publicly, the human side of the story became darker behind closed doors. A young woman who once dreamed of success now faced terrifying pressure. Friends became distant. Strangers mocked her publicly. Every detail of her private life became international news. And the nightmare had only just begun. The investigation expanded rapidly. What had once been quiet conversations hidden behind closed doors now became official legal territory. Lawyers entered the picture from every direction. Government investigators demanded answers. Political advisors held emergency meetings late into the night. Every person connected to the scandal suddenly feared one thing. What happens if the truth becomes public? Inside offices, tension became unbearable. Phones rang constantly. Assistants rushed through hallways carrying documents. Television screens played nonstop coverage in waiting rooms and offices across Washington. Nobody could escape the story anymore. The media turned the scandal into a national obsession almost overnight. News anchors spoke dramatically about secret meetings, hidden evidence, and possible lies. Every tiny update became breaking news. People sitting at home watched the scandal unfold like a television drama. But for those trapped inside it, this was real life collapsing in slow motion. Investigators wanted details, specific dates, specific conversations, specific actions, and most importantly, they wanted proof. The secret recordings became the center of everything. Hours of private conversations existed on tape. Conversations filled with emotion, fear, confusion, and intimate details. Listening to those recordings changed the entire case. Now investigators believed they had evidence strong enough to push further. Pressure increased immediately. The young woman at the center of the scandal suddenly found herself surrounded by lawyers and investigators asking endless questions. She faced a terrifying choice: protect powerful people or protect herself. The emotional pressure was enormous. Imagine being young and suddenly becoming the focus of international media attention. Every newspaper discusses your name. Every comedian jokes about your life. Every stranger believes they know your story. There was nowhere to hide. Photographers followed movements constantly. Television crews waited outside buildings and homes. Even simple daily activities became impossible without attention. The scandal consumed everything. At the same time, political enemies recognized opportunity. For years, rival groups had searched for ways to weaken the administration. Now they believed they finally had the weapon they needed. The situation became bigger than personal behavior. Now it was about law, power, and survival. Supporters fought aggressively to defend leadership. Critics demanded punishment. Television debates became emotional and vicious. America looked divided into two completely different realities. One side argued that private relationships should remain private. The other argued that dishonesty under oath threatened the entire political system. Once recorded evidence exists, escape becomes almost impossible. Political allies privately worried about survival. Would careers end? Would elections be destroyed? Would history remember this scandal forever? Nobody knew. Inside America, families argued constantly about the scandal. Some people believed morality mattered more than politics. Others believed political enemies were abusing the legal system to overturn elections indirectly. The divide became emotional and personal. And while politicians battled publicly, another terrifying reality emerged. Trust had completely collapsed. Nobody trusted reporters. Nobody trusted investigators. Nobody trusted politicians. Nobody trusted each other. The scandal poisoned everything around it. At the same time, pressure on the central figures continued increasing. Lawyers warned about legal consequences. Public opinion shifted constantly. Every statement risked creating another disaster. The emotional exhaustion became unbearable. The scandal had transformed from private secrecy into national trauma. And yet, history's final judgment still had not arrived. Because soon, the entire country would witness one of the most dramatic political confrontations in modern American history. The final stage of the scandal felt almost unreal. America watched politicians debate morality, law, truth, and power on live television every single day. Millions sat in front of screens waiting for updates. News channels interrupted programming constantly. Analysts predicted outcomes hour after hour. The entire country felt trapped inside political chaos. At the center of the storm stood people whose lives had already changed forever. No matter what happened next, nothing would ever return to normal again. The impeachment process moved forward with enormous tension. Every vote mattered. Every speech carried historic weight. Supporters argued that political enemies had weaponized a private scandal to destroy leadership. Critics insisted that lying under oath threatened the foundation of justice itself. The arguments became historic. Meanwhile, the emotional damage behind the scenes remained severe. Friendships disappeared. Careers collapsed. Reputations suffered permanent scars. And the media continued feeding the frenzy nonstop. For months, the scandal dominated American culture completely. Television ratings exploded. Comedy shows built entire episodes around the scandal. Newspapers sold millions of copies. Private pain had become public entertainment. Eventually, the final votes arrived. The entire world watched carefully. Would power survive? Or would the scandal end everything completely? After intense political battle, removal from office failed. Power survived. But survival did not mean victory, because the scandal permanently changed history. Public trust in politics suffered massive damage. Media culture became even more aggressive. Future political scandals would now be judged through the shadow of this one. And for the people directly involved, the consequences lasted decades. The young woman at the center of the scandal spent years rebuilding her life while carrying global humiliation few people could imagine. Many years later, public opinion slowly changed. People began re-examining how cruel the media coverage had been. Some realized she had become a target for worldwide humiliation, while far more powerful figures escaped greater damage. The scandal also transformed political strategy forever. Future politicians became obsessed with controlling media narratives. Image management became more important than ever before. Private behavior turned into potential political warfare. The entire system changed. Even today, decades later, people still debate what really mattered most in the scandal. Was it morality? Was it abuse of power? Was it dishonesty? Or was it political manipulation disguised as justice? Different generations still answer differently. But one fact remains undeniable. A private secret inside the most powerful building in America created one of the biggest political scandals the world had ever seen. And once the story escaped into public view, it consumed everyone involved. Because scandals inside ordinary lives may destroy families, but scandals connected to power can shake entire nations. History remembers scandals differently than the people who survived them. Years later, headlines fade. Television coverage disappears. Political arguments quiet down. But the emotional damage often remains forever. This story was not only about politics. It was about betrayal, secrecy, manipulation, humiliation, and the terrifying cost of living under the eyes of the entire world. And maybe that is why people still cannot stop talking about it decades later. Because deep behind the political arguments and media chaos, there were real people watching their lives fall apart in front of millions. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more true political scandals, celebrity controversies, and dark real events from around the world. Because sometimes the most dangerous crimes are not committed in secret streets at night. Sometimes they happen inside the most powerful rooms on Earth.